Now let's talk about what Governor Walker's motivations are in Wisconsin. Is it to help the average Wisconsin voter, or is it to help his campaign contributors? Gee, I wonder. So first, Sarah Palin jumped in, pretending to be on the side of the average working person in Wisconsin, while actually, of course, being completely on the opposite side. This is what she wrote on Facebook. Quote, "Union brothers and sisters, this is the wrong fight at the wrong time." Brothers and sisters who? What? Your brothers and sisters? How are they your brothers and sisters? Please spare me. Then she also wrote, quote, "Real solidarity means everyone being willing to sacrifice and carry our share of the burden." Really? What share of the burden are the rich bearing? Are they taking a hit here? All I saw was cuts for the working guys and the average guys in Wisconsin. You know what the businesses in Wisconsin are going to get? A $67 million tax cut over the next 2 years. We're sharing the burden. Now, speaking of not sharing the burden and making sure that the rich always benefit from Republican proposals, here comes the Koch brothers. Koch Industries was Scott Walker's fourth largest donor during his 2010 campaign. They donated $43,000 to his election effort. Gee, I wonder what they want. And now Governor Walker is running with the union-busting budget bill, which was pushed by the Koch-funded American Legislative Exchange Council. Gee, what a coincidence. They pay him, say, to bust the budgets, and he says right as soon as he comes in, you know what, I've got a genius idea. Why don't I bust the budgets? But the Koch brothers, I'm sure, care about the average worker, right? Well, it turns out in 2009, Koch Industries slashed jobs at plants across the country, including cutting 25% of the workforce in Green Bay, Wisconsin. Now, meanwhile, the Koch brothers' joint net worth increased by $11 billion in the same year. Oh, we just had to cut all those workers, because otherwise we would have only made $10,990 million, and we couldn't have that. The workers had to be slashed. Now, what was that about shared sacrifice, Sarah? Did the Koch brothers share any sacrifice? Now, of course, another Koch-funded group, Americans for Prosperity, has joined the Wisconsin budget battle. Would you believe it? They're backing the governor's union-busting agenda. Who could have figured? They've started the website standwithwalker.com. Gee, I wonder how all this is connected. Now, for more, let me bring in Lee Fang. He broke the story for thinkprogress.org. He joins me now. Lee, talk to me about the Koch brothers. Is this them trying to get payback for all the money that they invested in Walker and other politicians?
Well, sure. You know, the Koch brothers and Governor Walker share the same kind of perverse supply-side ideology where you basically soak the middle class and the poor to reward the rich. As you mentioned, Koch Industries has been slashing jobs, thousands of them, all over the country, including in Wisconsin. At the same time, they've basically given themselves, the two top executives, Charles and David, an extra $11 billion just in the last 2 years. That's pretty similar to Governor Walker, who's basically given a huge tax cut to businesses in Wisconsin, while at the same time only asking nurses and teachers to sacrifice.
All right, now that the protests have begun, how are the Koch brothers involved in the counter-protests in Madison?
Well, as you mentioned, they started this website, Stand with Walker, basically, you know, not only saying that we should end collective bargaining rights for public employees, but also private employees, and that this really radical drive by Governor Walker should be expanded across the country. And, you know, in the past 2 years, they have a group called Fight Back Wisconsin and Americans for Prosperity. They've been busing people around, hosting tea parties. They've brought in Walker to help campaign for him. Then this past Saturday, they bust in tea parties and people like Joe the plumber, you know, faux populists, to support him.
So they bust these guys in and say, like, and you know, you just heard the governor, by the way, he's complaining about people coming in from out of the state. Are the Koch brothers local to Wisconsin? Is Joe the plumber local to Wisconsin? Are any of the people they bust in local to Wisconsin?
Well, they had Andrew Breitbart and Herman Cain, definitely not Wisconsinites, but the Koch brothers do own a lot of companies in Wisconsin. They've a set of power plants, pipelines, lumber mills, and interestingly enough, hidden in this budget bill, you know, we're talking about collective bargaining rights, but Governor Walker also has a line item that allows him to sell off Wisconsin power plants basically with no-bid contracts. So it's possible there could be a quid pro quo later this year.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that as well. So let me get this right. They get lower taxes. Who knows what they're going to get in no-bid contracts later? You know, if you're looking for actually stopping pollution in Wisconsin, I don't think Governor Walker is going to be your guy. But is the ultimate goal here not just Wisconsin, but throughout the country to go after not just public unions, but private unions, so the Koch brothers will pay less to their workers throughout the country?
No, it's actually much bigger than that. You know, the Koch brothers want to maximize their political power. That's why they fund the Tea Party movement. That's why they finance this junkets for federal judges program. That's why they finance dozens of think tanks and so-called libertarian nonprofits. You know, this is much bigger than just Wisconsin. They want to crush the labor movement. They know if they have no if there's no labor movement, they have no real opponents. So in 2012 and 2014 and so forth, they're basically unstoppable. You know, I interviewed David Koch, one of the executives at Koch Industries, and he said this is just the beginning. He plans to expand this campaign in coming years.
Yeah, that sounds lovely. And I actually saw that interview, and then he said at some point, like, the average guy like me.
That's
the
right.
average billionaire like you? Come on, who are you kidding? Apparently the whole state of Wisconsin. All right, Lee Fang, thanks for your time tonight. We really appreciate it. Good report on that.
Thanks for having me.